Okay, so like where do you come from? Like how did you end up making lo-fi or chill music in this sense? Were your inspirations and how did you roll into this?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because it wasn't. I didn't even listen to at the time. I was kind of like I was mentioned earlier. I don't know if that was recorded, but I was working in the film industry. I was working with a guy, and I was got into Foley sound recording, and so that side of things, I was doing all the background sounds. But he asked me to do some scores, so I sort of shifted into sort of almost orchestral stuff, listening to more film scores, and I would write that. So I was into that sound, but I really liked the idea of creating a piece of music that was more found in a way, like kind of it was. If you were to picture, you'd gone into the back of a junk shop, and right at the back there's an old record. It's all covered in dust. It's scratchy, and it just was this kind of piece of music that no one was ever going to hear. And that's kind of where the name The Hidden came from. And it was off the back of a collection of recordings I'd made over the period of 5 years. It was just these little found recordings that I managed to put together as a sort of cohesive album. But it's kind of an abstract orchestral piece of like minimalistic, weird out their album, which I've only got on my Bandcamp page. Because I found that that was lo-fi, it was low fidelity. I was looking up people who may be doing stuff that was a bit like that. So I was looking up lo-fi and low fidelity, but then found the hip hop movement, which was coming through
Mm.
using those vintage type sounds. So I kind of steered into what is now lo-fi hip hop. And actually, when people say lo-fi, they associate it with hip hop, but it was just about the recording process and the sounds.
Yeah.
So I was kind of more attracted to the melodies and the sounds and the crackles and all the distortions, the weaves. Even like people like Boards of Canada were doing it
Yeah.
with the odd synths that were waving in and out. I've got a synth from my uncle from 1971. It's mono, but you've got to leave it for 20 minutes before you turn it on because it just goes out of tune. They waver. They need warming
Yeah.
up. It's like I love all that kind of happy
Yeah.
accents. When it goes wrong, it goes so right. I love that. So I was kind of drawn into lo-fi hip hop really through the interest of the actual aesthetic sound, and found it by
Cool.
accident, to be
Nice.
honest.
And how are you incorporating this in your music now, or what are the projects you're doing now, or the sound that you're creating now?
Well, a lot of it's kind of almost experimenting with retro equipment. Like I've got an old reel-to-reel tape deck, so transferring music back
Nice.
into that, and um, breaking up sounds. I've been just recently experimenting again with pitch shifting things down and slowing the tempo to kind of draw out. So, for instance, a lot of the snares and things in lo-fi hip hop at the moment is really cool because it's like it kind of sounds like crunchy.
Yeah.
There's more to it. It's not like a snap, which is like a straight recording. It's that time drawn, and if you can get that quality in the, I think that's kind of what I'm into at
Mm.
the moment. That can almost like sounds like textures that you can chew in your mouth. It's really slow. So yeah, see how that pans out.
Nice. And any projects that you're working on now, or?
Yeah. I mean, I've got 4 singles coming up. So there are 2 collaborations. One with the first one that I've got coming up in March is with guys they're based in London in the UK, called Francis the Mute. They contacted me, and it's that was kind of out of the blue. So I was really pleased to work on some tracks with them, and yeah, I'm really happy about the outcome. So hopefully we can do some more stuff. I'm looking forward to those tracks coming out. And then following that, I've got 2 other tracks which kind of started around the time or just after, kind of towards the end of when I was working with Livira with Natasha Gosh. So we've got a couple of tracks there, but I'd worked on that a year ago, and have now kind of made this little animated. Well, it's kind of did the artwork and then I animated it in After Effects. And it's really it's quite nice. It's like again, a bit different, very organic, very lots of tree sounds. And then following that, I've been working on an actual album with Rockamoko. So that we're
Ooh.
kind of ready to go with that. But it was supposed to be it was actually supposed to be the December issue of the Zodiac series. But
Mm.
we kind of like pixel fuck with our little sounds, so we never really kind of got that deadline met. So we're going to try and get that.
Yeah.
We're on it. We're really focusing on that. So that's going to be an exciting project for this year.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, sounds very good.
Yeah,
Exciting project.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what is the what's like in the future for the Hidden? So this is the project you're working on now. Is there any dreams or things that you would want to do at some point?
Well, I've always, I mean, one of my major dreams, kind of like the bucket list, is to get your music on vinyl. I mean, I love vinyl, and
Mm.
I've been able to do that with the with two of the actually with two of the Aviary compilations. But I would love like my album on vinyl because it's kind of like that's a bit of a goal to have your full album on vinyl. Whether that happens with this album with Rock and Moco is here to see. Possibly not through Avery. It depends whether how big it gets. If we get a few curated playlists that could finance that, and you get the wider audience,
Mm.
maybe we go through curates. I don't know. So we'll just have to see.
Cool. And sound-wise, for example, is there any things that you still would want to explore in the future that you haven't got to yet?
Yeah, I think kind of. I mean, probably my weakness is actually drums, which is why it's nice to collaborate. And that, like I was talking about with the experiment, with slowing things down, getting different sounds. So I think I'd really want to focus on trying to get a good drum sound that is kind of distinctive and got some character. Maybe this
Sure.
thing will help. It's got
Yeah.
so yeah, some experimentations on the horizon. So we'll